2 kids doing money fights in a martial arts arena, a village full of child soldiers fighting villains on behalf of the elders, a school full of teenagers learning how to fight crime and be real superheroes, a ragtag team of demons and delinquents, and one old lady beefing with anybody that they see. Despite all these stories having vastly different characters, themes, locations, and ideas, there is one thing that connects them all. The tournament arc is a staple in shonen anime, kind of like the white-haired character with a bunch of aura, or a transformation powered by anger, or sexual harassers. The tournament arc does a lot of things, but one thing that it does really well is it separates the boys from the men. These hidden rain ninja, they look pretty serious, they look pretty dangerous. Not anymore. Oh my god, how is anybody going to defeat somebody whose power is to literally copy other powers? I don't know, man, just run straight through him. The tournament arc has always been my personal favorite staple in anime for a bunch of reasons. Mostly because I remember my days as a youngster running around with my friends and fighting all the other kids in the classes. Tournament arcs have always been about taking all the coolest characters that they have in that moment and then sprinkling in a few more that they don't have, and then just letting them all do their thing. As much as I like it, it is a very played out trope. I think every show has a tournament arc. Tournament arcs in anime have given us some of the most iconic moments ever. And sometimes the arcs themselves are so iconic to the point where people will be talking about the shows and they can't help but mention the tournaments that took place. But the question needs to be asked, if every show is doing a tournament arc, why should I even care? And an even better question, why would I even want to watch that? I already saw people fighting the strongest characters in their show last week, and the week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that. Well, for me, I've always been excited by tournament arcs because there's always key differences between each of the shows they take place in. Just because the formats are the same doesn't necessarily mean they're competing for the same stakes, or they're fighting the same kinds of enemies. Like the sports festival and the Chunin exams are both tournaments, but they're nowhere near the same. The sports festival had a cute little race where you run to the finish line. Sasuke was deadass getting touched by Orochimaru in the Forest of Death. The sports festival had this goofy little cavalry battle where you fight with your friends on piggyback. Ooh, whoopee! Gaara killed these people. These are both tournaments, but there is no relation here. What makes all these tournament arcs compelling, even though they're the same format, is that they're all competing for different stakes. The Chunin exam was just about a rank promotion. The Dark Tournament was about making sure that Toguro didn't slime everyone Yusuke knows. The Sports Festival didn't even have any stakes if I remember correctly. They were just doing that for fun. Put that against the Dark Tournament, where if they lose, this 10-foot behemoth in Cartier shades that for some reason never get damaged is gonna slime everyone you know. Every tournament arc has different stakes, and those stakes are what make the tournaments worth watching. For example, I don't really care about any of the tournaments that happen in Dragon Ball. Cell Games, Tournament of Power, I just don't care. Because if they win, I was expecting it, and if they lose, they can just call the homie up and he'll have everything straight in like an hour. The reason why I don't care is because Dragon Ball, by essence of having the Dragon Balls to lean on, they neutralize all their stakes. Why would I care? At that point, the only thing compelling is the actual format of the tournament and the fights. And I'm not gonna lie, objectively sometimes that's enough. Like Frieza and Goku versus Jiren, that shit was awesome. But when the stakes are high, like with the Dark Tournament, or even the Chunin exams, honestly, because they were seconds away from death constantly during that whole thing. The second stage is literally called the Forest of Death. Not the Forest of Joy and Whimsy, no, death, dying. Ugh! I've always felt that the stakes of a story are ultimately what makes it so compelling. Characters are important, writing is important, locations important, themes are important. All that is important, but having real stakes is what makes or breaks the tournament arc. When I'm about to watch a fight, and one of the people fighting is my favorite fighter, I get physically nervous. I want them to win so very badly, but I also know that they're not unbeatable. There's not an insignificant chance that they'll lose. It's very possible that they might. That's real stakes. That's what keeps me at the edge of my seat. That's what keeps me locked in. And I get that feeling in the shows I watch too, but in shows like Dragon Ball where there's no real stakes, I just can't bring myself to care. In Yu Yu Hakusho, when Toguro pulls up on Yusuke and he goes,
"Hey, you better fight in this tournament."
I promise you nobody thought he was joking. Everybody knew he was actually gonna pull up on you. And Toguro was the strongest enemy we'd ever seen in Yu Yu Hakusho. So realistically, what was Yusuke gonna do? There's another aspect of tournament arcs that I really like, and it's one that people tend to not mention. It's the impact that that tournament arc has on the rest of the story. A lot of these moments that get made during the tournament arcs carry an impact on the rest of the story because oftentimes they're just that serious. I'm willing to say that Orochimaru giving Sasuke the curse mark during the second stage of the exam is probably top 5 most important moments in Naruto. Yusuke in the cave for Genkai's final test during the Dark Tournament. Deku telling Todoroki to use his full power during their fight. Bro, people still talk about Sasuke's entrance to the second stage of the Chunin exams. You know, when he got the greatest aura lob in history, your name. Brother, you're the referee. You know his name. These are incredible moments with big implications for the future of the story. People get this weird idea that a tournament arc is just about fighting. Have no idea where they'd get that crazy idea. Fighting is definitely a big part of tournament arcs, but more than that, these tournaments are there to bring the main character to the very edge of who he is at that moment and then force them to evolve. It's also a chance to give side characters a chance to shine, get some big moments, potentially pave the way to them becoming pillars of the story, but mostly it's about evolving the characters and through them, the story. For most tournament arcs, they tend to take place pretty early in the story, so a big battle with the main villain just doesn't really work, cause nothing's been set up yet. We don't even know anything about the villain or what they want, or in Orochimaru's case, how freaky they are. So for these early tournaments, how do you get the character development of a big battle without fighting the main villain? The best way to get a stand-in for the main villain is to pick the kid with the worst vibes and then have everyone want to go fight him. I don't care how sad his backstory is, he's moving real shady. Despite all of them following a pretty similar format and even sharing a lot of similar moments, tournament arcs are widely important to the development of a story and its characters. They're more often than not the catalyst to events that will substantially change characters and the story and will still be mentioned long after they happen. Tournament arcs widen out the story of whatever show that they happen in, and more often than not, they leave the viewer with a lot of great lessons and some amazing moments that if they weren't there, I would actually be willing to say that the story would be worse off. I really like tournament arcs. I find them extremely cool and actually very helpful for shonen anime that introduce a lot of characters and then kind of forget about them. A tournament arc's a great way to take all those characters and just be like, okay, go fight now. And also, let's keep it a buck. He knew who Sasuke was.
Waking up broke, I was dreading it. Playing my DMs, I'm blocking your messages. Supercharged the whip, they ain't no cashing it. Hell emotion, all my niggas be having it. Checking the mail, we FedEx tracking it. Stashing it, take it to the bank, we cash it. See, I got ranks, so don't feel like she catching them. She telling her friends about it. They say we be constantly spinning, but we getting chicken, we constantly adding. If I get the ball, I'm AK MPJ. You won't ever see me passing. Show them the way, but they